incidentally. But he had a student sign up for band this fall who was too large to fit in any of the uniforms, so they had to order one, and it ended up costing him $850. Then that student quit at semester. But so I feel like this number is not too terribly out of whack, even though it does seem high. If we buy 70 or more uniforms, the coat price drops to $244.37. Trousers to $77.60, hats to $42.36, and plumes to $16.18, for a total discounted price of $380.51. That saves about $251.58 per uniform.
If you buy how many?
I'm sorry?
If you buy how many?
70 or more. 70 or more, yeah. Total cost, if we were to buy 100 uniforms, that's $39,071. Now that also includes an embroidery setup fee and a nylon garment bag for each uniform. That includes the delivery, that includes the whole works. If we pay cash at the time of order, you get a 4% discount, which brings it down to $37,000 and $37,500. How to pay for them? We received a few private donations. We kind of feel like we take that money off the total price. From there, what we'd like to see is the rest of the price split in fourths between the Sac Music Boosters, the WLVA Boosters, the Sac School District, and the WLVA School District. That would come out to $9,377.04 a piece, and that's before the donations are taken out. Quite honestly, the donations wouldn't probably take a huge chunk out of that, but it would be lower than this number here. And I'm sorry I don't have that number for you with me right now. SAC Music Boosters and WLVA Boosters have already agreed to pay for their quart. That's a lot of money. But band uniforms can last 12 to 15 years with proper maintenance, sometimes longer. Uniforms get a lot of use. We wear them at least 10 times per year. Just this year and last year as well. We receive compliments at contests when we go to them and we're wearing them, and we get a lot of comments such as, we know it's kind of a pain to wear uniforms, but we appreciate you doing it. It shows pride in your community and your school. And every contest we go to, the last caption worth 5 points is called Other Performance Factors, and we always get a 5 in that. And I believe it's mostly because we wear our uniforms and show our pride in our organization that way. However, I will point out that just this last Saturday at our contest, this is the first time it's happened, we had a judge say on the tape, "I'm just wondering why there's two different kinds." He said, "It's okay." He said, "I'm just wondering. I'm sure there's a story behind that." So again, I don't think it's hurt us by any means, but you know, I think there's almost kind of like a grace period there where people will say, "Okay, we understand, you know, first couple of years of school, but we kind of feel like maybe it's time." And I know this is probably about the worst timing to come to you folks about this, because I know there's been a lot of hard decisions made around here. But if you have any questions about this whole process, I'd be happy to take them now.
Who is involved in the selection process?
The students and I.
So nobody from the SAC Music Boosters or anything like that?
The design had been shown to them before they had agreed to contribute their part of the...
So those two organizations that are going to give a fourth of the cost have more or less given their blessing for this uniform too?
Correct.
Okay.
And so that you would know, we never gave those organizations input. I guess they never had input in selection of other uniforms. The coaches and the AD worked on that. But I don't even know if the booster clubs ever saw basketball or football uniforms in advance. So these are a heck of a lot more money.
What fund would this money come out of, Barb?
I'm going to look at the business managers too.
The minimum for PEPL is $500 per unit, but I think since this is a set, a matching set, I think we could get it out of Pepple or Loss, but I wouldn't swear by it till I ask the School Board Association. Would that make sense to you?
That'd make a whole lot of difference in my vote.
Well, when we buy a computer, it has the mouse with it or the keypad with it, where you can buy those items separately, but because those are all part of the unit, that total, all the pieces that come with a computer have to be $500 or more. So if you follow that logic, that would make sense that this is all what's necessary for.
Brian, did I miss it, or am I imagining it? It looks to me like there's gloves with this uniform. Was there a price mentioned for those?
No, that's just a part of that picture. There aren't any gloves.
You know, and I saw that, you know, I assumed everything was priced together, and then when I saw you run your thing up, the jacket was priced separately. You know, thinking economically, you know, what's the chances, what dollars would it cost to, because our pants are all the same color. They get different striping or piping or whatever you want to call it, right? Mm-hmm. You know, what would be the chances of, because that cut the price in half just to get a jacket instead of going with the total thing. And was that option considered?
It was talked about.
So, but did we look at get a dollar price on that, or it was talked about and discarded?
Discarded.
Okay.
John, explain that to me again, though. You would be talking about using our current pants?
Yeah.
Okay, but buying the rest of the uniform, but using current pants?
Yeah.
No, I was just asking.
Yeah. Well, sometimes my ideas come out of my mouth before they get all the way to the brain.
Well,
too.
You know, I didn't know. I just want to make sure I understood what you were.
That's what I was suggesting. That
okay.
You know, if that's possible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And two reasons why it was discarded. Number one, because one does have a wide stripe with two different colors. One is a very thin stripe with one color, so they don't match. The second one is, as I mentioned, the WLVA uniforms are 12 years old, and we've got
shiny in the seat.
We've got buttons falling off and seams ripping, and they're really getting to the end of their life cycle.
Is the sash removable on that uniform?
Yes.
So for non-marching band functions, would you wear the sash or not?
I think we'd still wear it.
Okay.
Brian, I think, you know, these should be considered like any other uniform replacement. I think they need to be upgraded. My only concern is, and I don't know, but if I read the figures right, currently the number in band and what you're requesting, you're asking for twice as many uniforms presently as, is that the way I read it?
Right.
Okay. The concern I would have, and this is just my opinion, is if those numbers stay relatively there, a lot of uniforms are sitting unused that we paid for. I guess I would rather have the problem of having too many kids and having to go, even if we had to pay a little bit more, than having uniforms set and not being used. That's just my opinion. But I agree. I think if we're going to get them, you should get all new. But that would be the one concern I have. And I have no idea other uniforms how much surplus they have. I don't have any idea.
You said it took them 4 months to get new uniforms to you?
I know when we did this process at Sac City, when we ordered the uniforms, you know, we had 23 or 4 in the high school band. We bought 65, and by the end of the time, we didn't have enough. You know, so it's been my experience that you know, the other thing is, like I said, the problem is just having X amount of extra ones usually doesn't do the job, because you've got all these different sizes to deal with. And, you know, I understand, you know, you deal with that with other types of uniforms too, but it's so specific that, yeah, you may have, let's say the next year I would have, let's say, 40 uniforms not being used. The next year you might use 20 of those. The next year you might only use 20 of those 40, but it might be a different 20.